In the process, in the waiting, you're making melodies over me. In your presence is the promise. I am a pilgrim on a journey. You will leave my head above the mighty waves. You are able to keep me from stumbling. In my weakness, you are the strength that comes from within. Good shepherd of my soul, take my hand and lead me on. You make my footsteps and my path secure. Walking on water is just the beginning. Cause my faith to rise and stand at attention. You are calling me to greater things. For you will lift my head above the mighty waves. You are able to keep me from stumbling. And in my weakness, you are the strength that comes from within. Good shepherd of my soul, take my hand and lead me on. Oh, you will lift my head above the mighty waves. You are able to keep me from stumbling. And in my weakness, you are the strength that comes from within. Good shepherd of my soul, take my hand and lead me on. Yes, you will lift my head above the mighty waves. You are able to keep me from stumbling. And in my weakness,
Good morning. If you could please find your chair, we are about ready to get started.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I can't tell you how amazing it is to be a staff of this organization and to see this outpouring of support through your attendance here this morning. Thank you. The Rise and Shine Breakfast is a way for us to celebrate our ministry of service with you. My name is Mally Clute, and I am the Managing Director of Organizational Health for Volunteers of America Dakotas. Since Volunteers of America was founded in 1896, we have served communities with a unique philosophy: go where we are needed and do what comes to hand. As you can imagine, this means adjusting our services and programs as our community changes. I am proud to be part of Volunteers of America Dakotas and participate in change to strengthen our community and meet the needs of people we serve. We in the Dakotas are one of 32 Volunteers of America affiliates nationwide. Nationally, Volunteers of America is one of the nation's largest established, comprehensive human services organizations with 16,000 mission-driven professionals dedicated to helping those in need rebuild their lives and reach their full potential. Founded in 1896, the faith-based nonprofit has programs in 46 states, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, serving more than 1.5 million people a year. At Volunteers of America Dakotas, we are called by the gospel to guide people to live healthy and fulfilling lives. Since 1920, we have been supporting and empowering individuals, families, and communities. Volunteers of America Dakotas demonstrates God's love by guiding people with behavioral health needs, uplifting children, youth, and families, supporting individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and strengthening those struggling with homelessness. Our work touches the mind, body, heart, and ultimately the spirit of those we serve, integrating our deep compassion with highly effective programs and services. Thank you again for being here. Please join me in prayer. Lord, thank you for bringing us all here today in this time and place. We are absolutely grateful for each person here and for each person who worked to make it possible, including our sponsors, table hosts, and staff. Lord, bless our time together as we celebrate the work you have called us to at Volunteers of America Dakotas. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. We rejoice in your presence with us and welcome you to continue enjoying your breakfast as our program moves forward. Shortly, you will hear about some life-changing programs within our ministry. First, though, I would like to introduce you to the person leading this ministry, President and CEO of Volunteers of America Dakotas, Dennis Hoffman. Please help me welcome Dennis.
As always, Mally, thank you very much for an amazing beginning of this program. You may have heard me say it before, but I'm going to say it this morning. One of the most wonderful aspects of the role I have is greeting people. It's very close to back in the days when I greeted people at First Baptist Church in Sioux Falls. They let me stand out in front and welcome people. It's a wonderful thing. As Mally mentioned, many of you are here today because there's a table host who invited you, and you took advantage of the opportunity to come and perhaps hear a repeat of a story that you've heard before. or perhaps you're here for the first time and are going to hear the story of Volunteers America Dakotas. We also have amazing business corporate sponsors. Volunteers America Dakotas does not exist without a community and does not exist without the support of people like our corporate sponsors. We'd like to recognize our corporate sponsors and those who have generously invested over $5,000 or more today. Avera, First Premier Bank Card, Poet, Sands Wall Systems, Sanford, Woods Fuller Schultz Smith, First Bank and Trust, First Interstate Bank, Lloyd Companies, Salmons Financial Group, and finally, South Dakota Trust Company, LLC. Please join me in thanking our table hosts and sponsors for being here with us. One of the unique aspects of Volunteers America Dakotas is that we enjoy the support of some 50 Board of Directors members and another 20 foundation board members. When I say this to many of the CEOs that I spend time with, they gasp sometimes. It works for us for many, many ways. I would like to ask the Board of Directors members that are present here today and our foundation board members to stand and receive an applause of welcome. If you could stand up, please, where you're at. Volunteers America was founded nationally by Ballington and Maud Booth. We are a faith-driven organization. In Sioux Falls, South Dakota, we have provided a ministry of services for well over 100 years. We are very committed to providing this ministry to some of the most challenged, economically, socially challenged people in our midst. As we've done that over the years, one of the things that yours truly, Dennis Hoffman, pays attention to is we do that in a fiscally responsible manner. As we look forward in the years ahead, we continue to believe that our ministry of service will be blessed by God, and we will continue to support people in our midst that may have had different life experiences for many of us in this room. Today we're going to be talking to you about a variety of services, 3 or 4 that we're focusing on. One of the opportunities we began engaging in, actually opened the doors in July of last year, is called Greater Goods. Greater Goods is a donation program. We are partnering with the national organization Good 360. They're very large and well known in what we call product philanthropy. In a nutshell, they have gone over some 30 years and encouraged various corporations around the country to donate their excess return goods. These goods are basically new goods. We have on the northwest part of Sioux Falls, up on the intersection of Renner Road and the interstate, we have a warehouse, one of about 120 warehouses across the country today. That warehouse opened in July of last year, and we're thrilled that as of today, we have about 130 nonprofits, schools, and churches who have become members of this Greater Goods entity. It's appropriate that because we've only been in business a little bit less than a year, to recognize that First Premier Bank Card provided seed money to get us going, along with George Searle. In addition to that, as we stand here today, we have Poet and Sands Wall Systems who have invested dollars in what we call truckload sponsorships. Each truckload will deliver at least $150,000 of new goods into the nonprofit schools and churches in the Sioux Falls area. 2 years out, it's my estimate, as we're here today, actually yesterday we broke ground for an addition to our Greater Goods warehouse. 2 years from now, I believe that we will have well over 200 nonprofit schools and churches in the Sioux Falls and surrounding area, and we will be delivering somewhere in the neighborhood of $3 million of basically new goods into the nonprofit schools and churches. It's meant to do one thing, to lower their operating costs, number one, and then a certain amount of the goods are passed through their organization to people who need help with their basic daily needs. It's amazing ministry. None of this could happen without the support Thank you. None of this could happen without the support of community leaders. In our room here, and forgive me, I've lost track of where he's sitting, is Rod Pearson. Rod Pearson has been an integral part of our task force and is going to be the chair of our board starting in July. In addition to that, I'm about ready to welcome one of the most interesting, vibrant, fun guys I've been around for many years. His name is Bob Weiser of Weiser Distributing. I kid Bob about this a little bit, but the truth of the matter is that it would have been very hard to get this kick started in the way that I just described to you without the Bob Weisers of the world. I even go on to say, you know, Bob, you're a true blessing to our ministry. So would you please welcome Bob Weiser to the stage.
This is not a place where I normally stand, gentlemen. Probably never will again. Thanks, Dennis, and thanks for all of you for being here. It's a pleasure to see a full house. Normally you go to so many of these things, and at the back there's empty tables, and I don't see empty tables, and I love that. So thanks for being here. Greater goods is my passion, and I talk about it all the time. I'm pretty sure if my voice gave out, which it almost is, my wife could pretty well tell you everything I need to know because she's heard it a million times. So for the whole, almost a year already. Raise your hand if you are already familiar with Greater Goods and what they do. Yeah, love that. So if you're not at the table, if you didn't raise your hand and you have questions about it, please talk to those people that raise their hands because they're our best cheerleaders for it, and it's just hard to get the word out. It seems like it's a story that's too good to be true, so it's not too good to be true. Trust Dennis. So a while back, we had an anniversary coming up, so I thought I should be researching diamonds, so I did a little research, and I went to diamonds, and then it went to like diamond tip drill bits, and then it went to Milwaukee drill bits, and a drill bit index set, and so I thought, well, maybe she would like that. So it came in, and she looks at it, and I think she said it was something like, it's the wrong color, or something like that. So we send it back, and I don't know why, but we send it back, and actually, when you send it back, then the big box stores take a lot of those returns, and they donate them to the program called Greater Goods. They, in turn, allow churches, schools, and 501c3 nonprofits to acquire them at a fraction of the cost, usually like 15 or 20 cents on the dollar, possibly 30 cents on the dollar in some of the bigger ticket items, but always at a very good rate. And they get truckloads out at the Crooks Renner exit, as Dennis explained. So if you are a teacher, a school counselor, a church member, youth leader, Sunday school teacher, member of a nonprofit, or if you know one of those people, maybe you have a son or daughter, father, mother, sister, brother, please tell them about it, or please sponsor them and say, drag them out there and say, grandson or sister, aunt, I'll pay for your things if you can't, or if you need too much. So I think there's an organization, a list. There is not a list. Oh, they did. So if you saw, thank you, thank you. So if you saw your organization on the list, thank you very much. And if you didn't see your organization on the list, what have you been doing? So please get your organization to sign up. And if it's a brand-new organization, we have a sponsor that will actually sponsor the first $150, and which is what I call worth a $1,000 shopping spree, and in other words, like 15 to 20 cents on the dollar. So in other words, your sister, brother, mother, father, whoever it happens to be, is missing out on a $1,000 shopping spree. So I'd highly recommend that. Now I lost my place, so we'll figure out where we're at. And maybe like my wife and I, we sponsor our church, Abiding Savior Church, their school and their youth group. Our grandkids go to Sioux Falls Christian, and if you're like other grandparents, grandpa and grandma never say no to nothing. So anything your school, their school needs, they get it. So same thing with your family, I'm sure. And my son is an assistant tennis coach at Augie, although you may see he's never here. He's always in Florida, but he is a coach there. So Augie has taken advantage of the program. It probably has, tens of thousands of dollars that they've acquired in the last less than a year. And is there anybody here from USF by any chance? Can't see. They're bashful. Anyway, if there is, they're not signed up yet. Or if, where have you been? So, I'm not saying Augie's one step above you, ahead of you, but so and including we've been working hard with schools because schools have a need for, especially in every school, there is a need for people that. I'll call them, they need behavior management rewards. And it's just best if you have some kind of a thing in your supply closet. You say, if you come to school 5 days in a row, you're going to get rewarded, whatever it happens to be. But everybody needs behavior changes, except people in here, of course. So if you're a counselor and you wanted to stock up your supply closet, we'd love to have you out there. And if you're not on the list already, we'll sponsor your first $1,000 worth of stuff. So, I think that's about all I got there. If you would like at the end of this thing, please see myself or Tracy or Sarah or Dennis or I'm missing one, Carrie, and maybe even Don. Don is here and Cody. Any one of them can help you, and we'd love to have you take a picture of your QR code on your table and come out and see us. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Greater Goods is a retail donation distribution program. We partner with Good 360, which is an international nonprofit that works in product philanthropy. And through those partnerships, we get access to truckloads and pallets and gaylords of donations from all kinds of companies all over the country. And then we serve as a redistribution center. And then our members, which are nonprofits, schools, and churches, can come through our warehouse, and they're able to access those items and get those items and use them in their own programs or give them directly to the people that they're serving for a much, much lower cost than if they had to go to the store and buy it at full retail value.
I'm with the Union Gospel Mission, and we partner with the Greater Goods because we know it's something that is helping our community.
Because of the Greater Goods partnership, you're able to be part of that solution for us, which really matters to us.
Volunteers of America Dakotas got into Greater Goods because we said it's our mission to guide people to live healthy and fulfilling lives. And that doesn't necessarily need to be people who are directly in our programs. If we can help our other nonprofits do that, that's helping to further advance our mission. And we have absolutely seen that.
Being a nonprofit, it's being very frugal or penny wise to help your nonprofit. So if you are able to get goods at a better price and it's helping another nonprofit, then why aren't you doing that?
The Union Gospel Mission had, a flood the day after Christmas, and the pipes kind of burst at the top level, which is a $620,000 project. The great part about Greater Goods is you helped us with the other two levels. So we had to fully supply the women's shelter. Because of our partnership, you helped us to open our women's shelter again.
The fact that we get to support services that we don't directly offer is a huge benefit of Greater Goods. It's a huge benefit for VOA, and it's a huge benefit for our members. We don't directly do some of the services that our members do, but we still get to be a part of that.
My philosophy is be a part of something that's good, right? And so the Greater Goods, it's good. So what I get to do is come in, select what I need, and really give it out. And so it's like Christmas every day. When I come in here, I get to like pick the coolest stuff out, and I know a family that's in need, I can give it to them.
1 to 2 months before Christmas Day actually happened, then we started to realize, okay, we still need more of this item, or we need more of this item, and that's where the Greater Goods partnership came in and filled that need that we were looking for.
When someone makes a donation to support Greater Goods, we're able to multiply that donation many, many, many times over. We take your donation and we can turn it into an entire truckload of items that's going to go out in our community. And I don't think there's a lot of programs where you can get that same kind of return on investment.
Thank you, Eric and Ellie, for your testimony and support. Volunteers of America Dakotas is proud to partner with other nonprofits like Union Gospel Mission to make a difference in our community. Greater Goods is a program that allows us to make a positive difference in the lives of individuals served by other nonprofits, as well as those served in our own organization. One such program is Volunteers of America Dakotas' Access 180 program. Access 180 is a program offering supportive transitional housing for youth ages 16 to 21 who are experiencing homelessness or are at risk of becoming homeless. The program includes a skilled team of staff that support the youth in addressing their physical and mental health needs, graduating or getting their GED, finding and maintaining employment, and learning life skills like budgeting and taking care of an apartment, including keeping it clean. We also utilized Greater Goods to obtain incentives for the youth that they are then able to take with them when they graduate from the program. In fact, a youth recently told me they had gotten an air fryer, a crock pot, and some other small appliances, so they were good in that department and they were thrilled. It is also important to note that we do partner with other nonprofits in the Access 180 program, including Trey Ministries and Think 3D, to provide additional mentorship and supports for the youth. In fact, in the next couple of weeks, we will have about 10 youth graduate from Think 3D's Leaders of Tomorrow program, Next Gen. This is definitely something to celebrate. Now, as you can imagine, youth entering the Access 180 program have most certainly faced incredible, challenging circumstances, sometimes ones that are unimaginable. We know that we are helping youth through these difficulties, supporting healing, and guiding them towards independence and adulthood. The video you are about to watch is one that holds a lot of meaning for our organization, and you'll soon see why. Here is Liza's story.
When I was 3, my mom was killed by her boyfriend. They were into drugs. He was part of a motorcycle gang. He called my mom's friend before he called 911. And when the coroner had finally got there, they said the rigor mortis had set in for 5 hours. She was going to leave her boyfriend. She never left her boyfriend. She was going to go to Sioux City, Iowa, start a new life with me. She never came to pick up me. So with that, my dad raised me. He did the best that he could, but he also had a meth problem and a drinking problem. So he did not know how to deal with the loss of my mom. You know, even though they weren't together, he still cared for her a lot. And now he's just got me by himself. You know, he had his drug problem, drinking problem. So I kind of knew when he was coming down. I had to stay in my room because he would be very angry. If I stayed out, if the streetlights came on, he would drive through the neighborhood, look for me. And if I didn't get in the door soon enough, he would kick me with his steel-toed boots. My dad was always on meth. So living with him, I felt like the wrong parent had died, And everybody tells me these great stories about my mom, but it's not the same. And I get jealous of people that have memories of her because I don't have those. She was just taken from me. Me getting myself put in placements or getting locked up is how I felt that I was being taken care of. I always felt safe. I never wanted to be home. When I came to VOA, ILP, ILPP, TLP, the staff had always been very kind. I don't know where I would have gone without VOA. I had nowhere to go when I was 15 or 17. So in my time of need, somebody was finally there for me. So when the kids come here, they're 16 to 21-year-olds. I don't care if they're 21, they're still a kid to me. But they come here, to transition into a new life. Some could be like me, they just don't have anywhere to go. Some of us just need some extra direction and that's just what we're here for. Help them be responsible adults, take care of themselves. Some kids have addiction problems, that they need to work through, so we get them set up. We also have our addiction counselor here, Chris. Great team. We always just make sure that they get the right direction and nobody is left behind. I can't describe how alone I had felt, so I know that there are some of these kids, I hear their stories with their hard relationships with their parents or I understand. I making them feel safe is probably the most important thing to me.
We celebrate your resilience, Liza, and are blessed to have you on our team. Thank you for the difference you are making in the lives of youth. Liza, could you please stand and be recognized for your resilience and dedication to helping others? Please join me. Liza, you face challenges that most of us cannot imagine. No young person should have to consider if homelessness feels safer than home. I am grateful that you found Volunteers of America Dakotas as a young person with nowhere to go, and I'm grateful that you found us now, that you answered your calling to spend your career helping others. Thank you. Volunteers of America Dakota's Access 180 program is not the only program that we offer that serves individuals struggling with homelessness. Veterans struggling with the challenges of homelessness or at risk of becoming homeless can find help and guidance through our continuum of services and support, specifically for veterans, including the Veterans Services Center. The Veterans Services Center offers drop-in support for veterans, including camaraderie, food, employment searches and coaching, referrals for needed services, including medical and housing, and also has shower and laundry facilities. Veterans are trained to protect, to survive, to be tough. Some people believe that needing help is a weakness. We believe there is empowerment when people find the support they need to help themselves. Tony is a remarkable individual who had the courage to reach out for support through Volunteers of America Dakota's Veterans Services Center. Here's Tony's story.
I never really even imagined myself in the military growing up. I had long hair, partied a lot. I spent 11 years in the infantry. I absolutely loved the adventure, the discipline. I didn't really have a lot growing up. After 2 tours in Iraq and 1 in Africa, when I came back, I had a really difficult time transitioning. Not very many of my work skills in the military were transferable into the civilian world, and I started getting depressed, and the memories of some of the things that happened overseas started playing on tricks with my mind. And I got into drugs, unfortunately, and that lasted for almost 5 years. After I had a relapse, after being 1 year in the Veterans Court program, when they marched me into the courtroom in shackles, Justice Salter looked at me and said, he said, "Anthony, right now I believe we have more faith in you than you have in yourself." It was that moment that I realized I needed to make a change, and it wasn't for the court or for Sheila, my probation officer, or for Lauren, my military mentor. It was for me. It had to be for me and nobody else. The Volunteers of America has certainly helped me and led me in the right direction with any questions I've had about finances or any kind of help, school, work. You know, they're here for you. They got my back, so I got theirs. When I first came in here, I felt pretty low, but it didn't last for more than about 2 seconds till I started talking to the guys and they welcomed me in. Everybody let me know and showed me that, you know, they wasn't just words, they actually cared about me. If I didn't have the support from the VOA Center here, I would have been homeless, down and out completely. They've made it possible for me not only to have a job, I have my own vehicle, I live here in town, and my budgeting is going to where when I get done with this program, not only will I be able to pay my bills, but I'll have money saved up and be able to move on to bigger and better things. It's not a hand down, it's a helping hand up. So, you know, I had the wrong idea when I first walked through that door, but they let me know right away that, you know, they were here to help. So I'm very, very thankful for all of the staff members here at the VOA for the work and the effort that they put into making sure that us fellow veterans are taken care of. So thank you guys very much. Your money is not going wasted. The money that you're putting forth is guaranteeing a place to live for that veteran so that they can get their head together and get on the right track. That's, you know, I mean, that's where your money's going. And for those people that are in the program, you know, just do the right thing. Do it for you. Don't do it for anybody else.
Tony, for those of us who have stood in harm's way, and then a few days later, we've come home and we've come back to streets that we thought we once knew, and they've become strange and even challenging. We understand the message and we understand the journey you've been on. When I came back from Vietnam in '75, I had a father, a World War II CB veteran, and his friends that literally put their arms around me. And many times when I hear the kind of stories we've just heard about Tony, I'm just absolutely delighted that there's a Volunteers of America and people like us in the community that put our arms around the people like Tony. We welcome them back, we give them support, and we encourage them, and then we celebrate when they move forward in productive and healthy lives. Tony, could you stand up so we could give you another round of applause? Many of us have not really met and faced the deep challenges of Lisa and Tony. Many of us have had other individuals in our lives that have helped us. Although our paths have been different, we all probably in our own way can point to one or two and maybe hopefully several people in our lives that reached out and gave us that chance in life. As we're sharing here today, let us remember that there are veterans in our midst that are coming back, and our goal is to welcome them, encourage them. They're the people like Liza, special thing to say about teens, that at the age of 15, 16, 17, are many times, in many, many ways, seeing their first chance at changing the trajectory of their lives. It's an amazing thing to watch things like that happen. And finally, our basic commitment to this community for over 100 years is to be with the people that are the most economically challenged and even spiritually challenged people in our midst. To not be in that world of giving handouts, but being in that world of getting hand-ups. This morning, we're going to ask you to take a moment here and consider making a gift to Volunteers America Dakotas, if you haven't already. If you have, thank you. If you haven't, on the screen behind me now, if things are working out, there's a QR code. You can simply open, this technology is far beyond me, by the way, so I'm scripted here. Simply open the camera on your cell phone, hover the camera over the QR code, click on it, and boom, there to an online giving option. For those of us that fill out paper from time to time still, there are paper pledge cards on your table. Whatever you decide to do, please know that your gift means hope to many, many people in our community. Your gifts are changing people's lives every day, and we absolutely are just thrilled and grateful and thankful for your consideration of a donation to Volunteers of America Dakotas. So as you're taking a few moments to do one or the other, we have a camp postcard video. Officer Andy, where are you sitting? Could you stand up, please? You know, I was having lunch with one of our really great community leaders yesterday. And among the topics we talked about, I mentioned earlier in connection with Bob, is that God does put special individuals in our lives and in our Volunteers America ministry. And Officer Andy is such an integral part. I mean, he heard about it, saw it, he got all into this. And so, Andy, thank you so very much for being here, not only today, but Camp Postcard. I guess we're ready for the video.
I learned about Camp Postcard about 3 to 4 years ago from a member of the VOA staff that was working for VOA that was actually one of my former football coaches, that involved law enforcement building relationships with young men and women from their community. I always remember my wife telling me, she's like, "You won't stop talking about this Camp Postcard thing." And I was like, yeah, like, gotta do it.
This camp's important. Just being in the schools for the year, I've learned that relationships with these kids is the biggest thing for them, because they don't have these relationships a lot of the time. Seeing us in a natural light versus we're law enforcement, we're here to protect. They realize we're normal people too, we have families.
I thought it was like for bad kids, because like in school, like I was really kind of good, but I also got in trouble a lot. And like, so I thought it was for bad kids, like to get better. But like when we came here, the police officers told us that like it wasn't because we were bad. He was like, it's because like we all need, like, some of us went through like some family stuff. Like we just all need to be together, like, and learn so many things.
I thought some of the counselors would be strict, you know, their police officers thought they'd be, you know, okay, you do this, yeah. But no, they're good guys. They play along. They love winning.
I'm gonna take the 10 principles because we've been studying that a lot. Live each day with courage. Take pride in your work. Always finish what you start. Do what has to be done. Be tough but fair. When you make a promise, keep it. Ride for the brand. Talk less, say more. Remember that some things aren't for sale. And know where to draw the line.
To watch these young people just totally manifest into butterflies, beautiful butterflies, you know, become vulnerable and willing to open up and really spread their wings, that's been impactful for me.
I was just really nervous because I thought I wouldn't know anybody here. At Camp Postcard, I've made a lot of new friends and met a lot of new people, and there's so many new activities that I have tried and done that I haven't even heard of.
What I hope they've not just like you said, learned from me, but from all of us, that we love them. And there's a lot of good people out there within their families, within their communities that are always going to champion their ongoing successes.
I will forever be grateful for the opportunity Hadley had to attend Camp Postcard last year. Hadley has always had the most respect for police officers and dreams of being in the FBI someday. Although she had respect for the police, she didn't necessarily feel comfortable seeking help from the police if she needed it. Hadley was very apprehensive about attending camp as she didn't know anyone and she'd never been away from home for that long. So the morning of Camp Postcard, Hadley had actually called me to come back and pick her up before even getting on the bus. But before I could get there, one of the school resource officers and another camper had convinced Hadley to stay. She was so glad that she stayed, and she had the best week. She gained such a great relationship with the police officers and made some really great friends. This school year, Hadley was having some trouble with another student at school, and she felt completely comfortable going to her school resource officer for help. I really think that Camp Postcard is such a great opportunity for kids to connect with police and build such great relationships.
Last summer, we had just shy of 40 young people who attended and took advantage of Camp Postcard. Camp Postcard is not just a summer camp. We have had several reunions of the camp counselors, the staff, the police officers, law enforcement, and the students during the year. So the program is actually a year-round program to connect and build character and interaction among students. I'd also add that in that process, there are a few adults that have seen some changes in their own lives. So as you're finishing, hopefully, filling out your pledge card, Camp Postcard, I would point out to you, is an investment of this community of just a little bit more than $100,000 a year, completely supported by donations by people like yourselves. So if you like that message there and you like that idea, please consider donating. Whether it's a program like Camp Postcard or many other programs that we offer, they don't happen without lots of community support. Speaking of support and making differences in people's lives, I am just delighted to mention to you this morning that our own Brian Mulder got elected to District 11's representative in Pierre. He just completed his freshman year. He's sitting back over here somewhere, I think, with a goodly number of his colleagues and other representatives in Pierre. Volunteers America Dakotas receives about 85% of our funding through various local, county, state, federal grants and contracts. We simply couldn't do our work without the support of governmental entities. So please give them a round of applause also. Well, we're getting close to the end of our morning together. Thank you again. I actually have one important opportunity. Heather Kittleson, who's sitting over here by Officer Andy, came to our organization about 10 years ago. I remember the very first time I met Heather, she was part of our board of directors. A few years later, We convinced her to come on board as a consultant to help us in the marketing and fundraising area. In the last several years, she's been a very effective foundation director. Heather is a deeply spiritual person who's been called by God to move off to other ministry, and so she'll be leaving us in about a month. Her impact on our organization will be here for many, many years. It's my belief that she may not be sitting over there the next time we get together in a year in May of 2024. My guess she'll be somewhere in this room. But Heather, could you stand up, and we'd like to give you a round of applause. Thank you again for being with us today. If you've been here before, thank you for coming to another edition. If this is the first time that you have been at Arise and Shine, I hope we've shown you enough that you'll be encouraged to come back again someday. In the meantime, well, I about forgot, I don't know, some first week in May of 2024, I should have known the date, but you can look at the calendar. We're going to be back here again, and we're delighted if you'll be here. In the meantime, the Irish have some amazing blessings, and I want to send you today on your way with a traditional Irish blessing that warms my heart. May your days be many and your troubles few. May all of God's blessings descend upon you. May peace be within you. May your heart be strong. And may you find what you're seeking wherever you roam. Amen. God bless you, and thank you for being part of this today.
From the highest of heights to the depths of the sea. Hi, how are you? Creation reveals